Hey, I'm Sven Masterson, one of the co-founders and mentors in the Mentoring Men community. And in this video, I want to talk to you about a common phenomenon in monogamous heterosexual couples where a woman says to a man that she feels like he's scary, that his emotions feel intense to her. And yet the man in the relationship feels like he's actually quite calm and isn't feeling emotionally disturbed. And so why is this? What's going on here? Why is a woman feeling a lot of fear or a lot of trepidation in the presence of a man who is himself not self-described as feeling a certain way? This used to really bother me a lot during the difficult days of my marriage, because my wife wouldn't say I felt scary per se, but she would treat me as though I was being really intense. And in my view of self, scale 1 to 10, I might have felt like a 3. But yet she was treating me like I was, in some way like about to hurt her or something. And this is a common experience among men. And so when men come to us and talk to us about their partners saying, hey, my wife keeps telling me I'm being scary or I'm being loud or that she doesn't feel safe, a man doesn't know what to do. And so he routinely follows that description of what's going on almost immediately with, I've never hit her, I've never called her names, I've never done all these things. And so for a man, most men feel like, well, if I haven't been violent, if I haven't been super angry, then she should feel safe, right? And so every time I hear this, I always think of these things in my my hobby collection that I want to share with you today. I've been kind of a collector of old civil defense things for, I don't know, maybe 15, 20 years. It always just intrigued me. When I was in junior high and high school here in the United States, our schools always had these like civilian defense signs on them. They said fallout shelter. I grew up when, mostly when Reagan was president, and there was this heightened awareness that we might be attacked by the Russians or something and experience nuclear war. And so the civil defense stuff was everywhere. In every school, most of them were fallout shelters. And I've just, it kind of stuck in my craw a little bit, and I got used to seeing these signs everywhere. And then as an adult, I found some of the memorabilia from that, and found that the contents in those shelters were sold off in auctions and whatnot. And so I bought a few, and so I have these two things. This is a radiation detector from those days, the 70s, civilian defense, kind of cool. I like the way it looks. It kind of looks like some stuff from video games when I was a kid. And then I have this other one that looks really similar. Now, both of these are radiation detectors. I want to talk about this one first. Doesn't really matter what it's called, CDV 715 or something. And this one is really good at sensing fallout radiation at a distance. So like, God forbid this ever happens, but if there was fallout coming into my community and it was a ways off, that would be particles with gamma radiation or emitting gamma radiation, this thing would pick it up and it would start chirping if I turned it on, and it would say, hey, there's fallout in your area. But if I wanted to like scan an apple, let's say, or an animal and say, is this thing emitting radiation? This couldn't tell me anything. It's not tuned with that level of precision. This, however, is what people would typically call a Geiger counter. And this thing, the handle comes off, and you could hold it up to that apple, and it would go off the charts if it was emitting gamma radiation, because this is designed at a much finer level of precision to detect gamma radiation. And so both of these detectors, even though they look very similar to each other, they both detect gamma radiation, but they do it in different ways, and they do it in a way that produces different outcomes and has different value. Now, interestingly, if we were in a fallout emergency or something, and if these worked even, these would both serve a distinct purpose. This would be really good for saying, hey, danger is coming, right? And this one would be really good for saying danger is directly in front of you. And I always think of these things when people talk to me about the emotional sensitivity of men and women, because I've really come to appreciate that men and women are different. We serve distinct roles. We have distinct ways that we work as humans. And one is not better than the other. They're both necessary, but we don't do the same things. And so I am more like this one, right? I can see big meta changes coming. And so the way my emotional scale works, what feels like a 10 to me, but let's just say a 1. What feels like a 1 to me is going to be like off the charts on something this sensitive. And I can see things far off, but a lot of times, though I'm a very intuitive person and a sensitive person about a lot of things, I just do not have the exquisite sensitivity that my wife does, right? She's more like one of these, the CDV 700, which is ultra precise. You can hold this little wand up right to an item and figure out that item is emitting radiation. But this thing also, it's not really that great at sensing the big meta picture of fallout coming 30 miles away. It wouldn't do really any good in that role. And so both are really helpful in a fallout emergency. I wouldn't want to be without either one, but they also don't do the same things. And so when I think about this, it's really helped me to kind of create a metaphor and a context for understanding things a little differently. And so it's about scale. As a man, what feels really kind of low key to me does not feel low key to my wife. And I used to grumble and complain about this and think she was crazy, think she was being difficult. But I've come to see, no, she's just different. And in turn, my wife has come to understand I'm not like a dolt. I'm not an idiot. I'm not seeing things. I'm just tuned in at a different scale than she is. And so when she is really emoting like something is a massive emergency, it doesn't feel that big to me. And here too, this is a gift, because when she is really experiencing a lot of range and something feels scary to her, if I had her emotional range and I entered that with her, I might not be very much support and help to her. Whereas because I'm different, I can kind of create some space where she can experience that range. I can remain calm. I could remain, a good counterweight to that, and we can move forward together. Likewise, because I'm wired to sense big things maybe, and my wife has a scale for fine things, it's often helped me in life after I came to appreciate it, that my wife could sense things that were a little too subtle for me to pick up on. And then she could say, hey, I don't know if you noticed this, but this is going on. And that's also been a benefit, because then I've gotten the benefit in both cases of both levels of detection. And so understanding that men and women and our emotional range complement each other instead of fighting against it has been a real eye-opening way to make use of this different range, but also to stop taking it personally when my wife is just different. She's not being adversarial. She's just feeling a heightened level of sensitivity to the same things that don't feel that scary to me. Now, does that mean as a man then, when your wife is saying, oh, I feel scary, that you're somehow on the hook to change? No, not necessarily. In fact, you don't really do anyone any benefit by becoming something you're not in order to make other people feel more safe. We all actually have a responsibility for our own emotional safety. Nevertheless, as partners in a relationship, we do bear, I would say, a love-bound responsibility to be aware of how we impact each other, to be aware that though I might not feel that amped up in the relationship, the way I am being, the way I'm expressing my emotions, it could be difficult for my partner to receive that in an effective way. And so rather than think about things being right or wrong, I like to think about this, thanks to my own mentor's guidance in my past, as being effective or ineffective. And so when I'm feeling a certain way and I'm, it's registering on my scale as not very intense, it's helped me effectively in a relationship to remember the scale might be different for my wife. And so it's been an occasion to slow down, even though I might already feel calm, to realize, even if I'm being passionate, that my passion might register on a sensitive instrument as danger. And just slow down some more, take more breaks, take more breaths, and try to be sensitive to the instrument I'm relating to. And so if your female partner is saying she feels scared, that she seems like she's a little freaked out by what you're doing and what you're being, you don't need to become like her, but it would behoove you, in the interest of creating a great relationship, to understand how your partner relates, to stop resenting her difference, and instead learn how to embrace that difference to further the intimacy and the connection that you share between yourselves. And sometimes that just means backing up, realizing, okay, I gotta slow down. I gotta be a little bit more sensitive. And when you do that, I find, and I have found in my relationship, that my wife has also grown in appreciation that I'm not like her, that I don't pick up on the same things that she picks up on, and I'm not being just a bad man. I'm just living by a different scale. So I hope that has helped you to think differently about your emotions in contrast with your partner's emotions. If you want to know more about the differences between how men and women relate, I would invite you to consider getting to know us in the Mentoring Men community. We have a community devoted to helping men be their best. By all means, it's not just about relationships. We spend a lot of time talking about a lot of things, but the main thing we're interested in is helping men be their best. One of the ways men tend to discover they're not being their best is in relationships and in having conflict, like the collision of these two worlds. And so if that's you, if you'd like to explore that more, I would invite you to go down into the description below. You'll see some links. One of those links you can use to set up a complimentary session with myself or one of the other mentors, in which we can get to know you and your story and find out more what's going on, what kind of conflict and tension you have in life and relationships. That's one path. Or you could scroll down a little bit deeper and just go right to the sign up link for our community. It's very reasonable. It's $25 a month. It has 20 or so live sessions a month among men all over the world who are on this journey of better understanding themselves, becoming their best, learning to be excellent in relationships and life and mission and purpose. And all that is below. And we would love to get to know you, especially if these things are deeply resonating with you. And with that, I wish you a great weekend. I wish you the best in your relationship between these sensitive instruments. And I'll talk to you soon. Take care.